that were filed in 1946. Which it took some digging, but I found them. It was supposed to be 5 per commissioner district.
Okay, well, we're back in regular session and no decisions were made. Old business, recycling. Roger Jensen, I had a conversation with him a few days ago. You know, we're in an agreement with several counties, including Thomas County, Rollins County, I believe Overland's in it. There is some concern that Thomas County may break away on their own. That hasn't happened yet. What Roger was kind of concerned about is if they do go that direction, what are we going to do? Well, again, Thomas County or Rollins County and Decatur County are already taking some steps to keep the process moving correctly, and they would like to include us. Nothing official yet. It hasn't happened. They won't even know any information until after May, I believe. But we're just kind of looking ahead to make sure that we have a place to go with our recycling.
Do you have any idea how much more it's going to cost?
That's yet to be determined. That'd be an agreement between whatever counties would go into this proposed alliance. One question I do have for Leslie. Rollins County apparently is going to call a special meeting, their Board of Commissioners, to talk just about recycling. Can more than one of us go to that meeting?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But that was a question. They wanted to know if all the commissioners could get together, and I'm like, I don't know. I'll ask, but
I think basically what you would have to do is, you know, call a special meeting and give
in
notice.
each county.
I would do so, just to be on the safe side.
You'd have to say where the meeting's taking
Right.
place.
Right.
And then I'd have to go and take minutes.
Well, I think they were looking at Rollins County since it would be central for the 3 that they're looking to go this direction, if necessary. And again, that's not saying that this is going to happen, but they're just trying to protect themselves in case it would. Employee evaluation meeting. We were unable to, due to illness, we weren't able to get that in. I think Leslie has a little input on this. But it sounds like we need to call a special meeting and give notice before we have it. Is that correct?
Well, I think you can
Can we
do
call it a work day?
any way you want. Well, you might have, let's talk to Leslie about that. I might give you bad advice.
Yeah, well.
I guess I can skip ahead to some stuff.
Sure, let's do that.
Brendan Nelson did resign as driver. I did talk her into a fill-in driver during summer months. I'd asked permission if I could advertise for another driver, part-time driver.
I see no problem with that.
Okay.
Let's get that full. And on the same note, we've had a couple of minor accidents up at the EMS building with that van, trying to back that thing in. It's causing some congestion up there and some problems. So Scott had mentioned maybe looking for another parking spot or another place to keep this van. And we've had a couple of people show interest in wanting to do that. But I'd like to have your thoughts on whether that's a feasible idea or leave it the way it is. Apparently now they park that van behind one of the ambulances, so every time they want to use the van, they have to pull the ambulance out, let it sit and idle for a while, pull the van out, and then back and forth. And I'd say they've had a couple of minor scrapes with the doors and whatnot. But it would sure relieve some of the congestion up there at the EMS building if we could get that van into another garage of sorts.
I thought at one point in time they said all they had to have to house it was just like a carport or something. They didn't have to have a big building.
It has to be covered and locked and
Change the rules, so.
Well, there is a couple individuals in town that have a building available, and they were approached last year by the sheriff's department to use this building, and they had said yes, we'd do it, and then from there, the idea of the new building in Bird City came about, so he wasn't going to use it. But it's a building that's heated and has water and sufficient sized garage doors to house it. But we haven't talked about money or anything else. We just, I told him I'd wait until we talked to you and Scott to see what your thoughts were on it. The plus side is now we don't have to pay anything for it. It's already in one of our facilities. If you move it out of there now, you're going to have to pay rent every month.
We're just gonna be adding
Is
more
that a
to-
cost that KDOT would pick up, or would we be responsible for
I
that?
think we would be responsible for that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
I'm not in favor of moving it. I mean, just not.
Ed?
I know we're having some problems maybe, but.
Well, they're nothing major. I mean, they're just
Yeah, but
irritants. is
I
all.
just don't want to put any more money in that public transportation.
Well, it's certainly not making us any money, so
Yeah.
we don't want to spend any more than we have to.
I think we're gonna see more expenses down the road with it anyway. Because it looks to me like KDOT's gonna back out before it's over with.
And that, yeah, that could happen because with the grant this year, they don't know whether it'll be fully funded the way it is.
All right, well, we better leave it as it is for now then. Okay.
Back up to the employee evaluation.
Right. Leslie, did you have some input on this evaluation meeting or wage agreement meeting?
Yes, in regards to the wage agreement meeting, coming in when I did as county attorney was probably the worst time with budget, et cetera, and trying to get up to speed in how everything works. It's my understanding that in the employee handbook, there's supposed to be an evaluation, or the commissioners are supposed to look at the wages like twice a year. However, that doesn't make sense because there really can't be any adjustments in regards to wages unless it's done with the budget. And so it's my opinion that those should be coinciding in regards to any sort of agreements in regards to increases in wages, et cetera, so that it can be incorporated into each department's budget. And if they have the money to do so, then we have it available and can implement that raise.
And that works perfectly with what we wanted to do. The beginning of last year, we were kind of shocked by the fact that every meeting, a department head would come in and have these wage adjustments or anything else. And finally, we just said, hey, we're only going to do this once a year. And we arbitrarily just picked February because we knew it was before budget time. But if we need to wait until we get closer to the budget time, are you thinking May or June or?
Well, I'm thinking that probably the appropriate time would be sometime when each department starts working on their budget for the next year. if they are wanting raises for those in their departments, then they can, like I said, start looking at their budget and seeing, what they would need, and if they can,
Well, that's the goal.
Accommodate that.
That is the goal that we were trying to set. And again, it was just, February was just an arbitrary month because it was a slow month and we figured we'd have more time to look at them. But if you want to wait a little closer to the budget time, that works perfect with me.
I just think it makes more sense.
And I've had several department heads comment on that too, that it'd be better if
Jeannie?
My question is, these evaluations that we're going to do, will that take effect in this current year? Or are you thinking that, because a lot of those were built into the budgets last year when we did budget stuff, so it was hopeful to take effect in January, 1st of January, or whatever, 1st of this year. So are you speaking that you want these budgets then to be done and then they'll go into effect like in September? Or when they approve the budgets, or
Well,
I mean, what's the timing of these increases to come? If you would approve these evaluations and did what, if you put it into the 2000, because I built it into the 2018 budget.
Hang on
So
just 1
we
minute.
still haven't received an evaluation between 2018 deal. So we handed those in. Will that take effect then in 2018, or are we need to build it in the 2019 budget to take effect then? I guess that's what I'm,
Well,
because
if you-
Sherman County runs on a fiscal, calendar fiscal year, right?
Right, we run on a calendar year, and so when you proposed your budget for 2018, and you had that increase in your budget, then with the evaluations, it should have gone into effect for the 2018 year. If you are budgeting for that
Okay,
and
Brandon.
proposed.
That's going to be me. I'm Terry Ryder. You're in my district, which would be 3.
Scott?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
In regards to, what Jeannie's saying is that she had budgeted for a wage increase for the 2018 fiscal year. And so
Right.
she is questioning why that raise has not
Yeah.
been implemented as of January 1.
Because the
Well,
board hasn't done it.
Yeah, we haven't acted on it yet, and it will probably go into effect in January.
Right. We've had,
So we've skipped a whole year then, is what
No.
you're proposing?
No,
No,
no.
we were gonna have a meeting last month, and we were gonna approve
right.
the raises,
If-
and it went into effect January of 18. We'd have picked up the back.
Oh, you were gonna,
Sure.
you were gonna
It-
back.
We just
Right.
didn't
Okay.
get
That makes
there.
more sense, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of what you're.
But she's saying then, when we budget, we're gonna start budgeting, and then we'll
Well,
probably
I'll
do it
double
maybe
check.
like in December,
Right.
And
so
that
it'll
makes
hit in
Right.
January.
That-
Right.
That makes
You
sense.
We're
have a
just-
neighbor to the north of you that called.
We're
We're
behind.
trying to catch up.
We're behind.
Because I was thinking,
So,
because
but
we kind of.
anyway, I will
I was thinking,
I
how
will-
do you,
I will go down.
Yeah,
and
no.
I'll-
just wanted to know how you're,
But like I said before, we had people coming in August and they wanted an increase, and then we had people coming in
understand.
December and they wanted an increase, and we just said, we're gonna do it once a year,
Yeah, I think that's fine.
but we're trying to catch up.
Right,
But
and like
we
when-
are
yeah.
gonna do for 18, and we're probably gonna back up and pick up January.
Okay.
Right, because if it was in the budget, then we're gonna honor that. It's just that, we're trying to figure out the timing of everything, and so that's why I'm proposing, do it for the budget, and then,
Yeah. that
and
clears-
in December, we'll take a look at them and get it approved so it
for
immediately goes into
2019,
effect.
So it
Right,
can go into effect.
right.
If you choose to do anything, then it goes into effect in January. That
Right.
makes- That makes.
And we had a meeting scheduled, and I was in the hospital, and they had to cancel, and now we've got to publish again before we can have a special meeting.
Well, I'll make that.
And I think Terry wants to ask how we
I'll-
need to do that, whether it's a work day or a special meeting, or
I'll make sure they find out, Brandon.
to do these evals.
Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Bye.
I'm not sure.
Sorry about that. It's a call for the commissioners. Anyway, I'm sorry, what?
What, Rodney?
I think I can tie all of this together neatly for you. I worked extensively with the Austin Peters ladies that were the PhDs that designed the evaluation system and set up the wages. But they did it looking at the budget also.
Okay.
So the commissioners set a budget for a future year. Let's take 2019, which is coming up. And they say across the board, we're going to budget a 3% raise for all the departments, okay? Then along about in December come in the evaluation forms, okay? They review those. They already know they have budgeted, and they make the decisions in conjunction with the elected officials on how the compensation is going to be done. It could be done two ways. It can be a step increase, or they can say, we're going to look at, say, the cost of living, and that's it. But it's their decision.
Okay. All right. And I think that's
And
what we're
it's
saying
it's
too.
an administrative thing.
Right.
And we have two new commissioners, and a new county clerk. So what? You're behind the curve a little bit? You're already budgeted this year. That's
Right.
covered.
Right. So it's just a matter of getting it approved and backdated
Yeah.
and getting the employees their
I don't see a
compensation.
problem.
Okay, thanks, Rodney. Excuse me.
It's, where we at there? I missed a little.
Basically, we're behind the ball this year. We'll have to do it back up January 1st, reimburse all employees. Then
For
do,
anything they're proposed from last year.
right. And then start in the May, doing the evaluations again, so that department heads can budget. And then in December, approve the
That makes sense. So, do you think we need to go ahead and call a special meeting to get this
Well,
done?
that's interesting on that. She doesn't know.
I would think we could make a work day without calling special meeting.
I don't know how
And
that
have a
works.
work day, and then you come, as long as you don't make any decision.
I don't know how that works.
Don't know.
All I've already figured out the percentage is what it's gonna cost.
I guess the question is, do we need to go ahead and can we call it a work day without advertising and all this other stuff, or do we need to call a special meeting to?
As long as they don't
accomplish
make
this?
any decisions that day, can they just have a work day where they can have the department heads come in?
When would the decision be made, though?
At the next board meeting when they sign the wage agreements.
I think so. A work day,
Okay,
as long as no decisions are made.
what day would work for you guys?
What do you got in mind?
Hey, I don't have a date.
December of 2008.
You want to do it like on Monday, the 26th? That way we'd have our information by the
I'm
meeting
gonna be
time.
gone.
Okay,
I'm not available that day.
okay. Leslie, you're the hardest one to put into a schedule, so.
I could do it next week, either on Wednesday or Friday. Wednesday would be better.
Wednesday would be best for me.
Okay, let's do next Wednesday morning at 8.
21st.
Yes, that work. Okay, correspondence and information.
Did you sign the burn ban resolution?
Dan is coming in this morning, isn't he? We've had a couple of questions, Leslie, and Dan may be able to answer them better, but there's quite a few people wanting to burn. They was wondering if it'd be possible to leave a burn ban in place, but yet have a designated day or 2 days where you could lift the ban so they could catch up, let's say, a day after moisture. Is that even possible? A temporary lift of the ban, so to speak?
I think that's going to lead to confusion.
I do too, but
Either there's a burn ban or there's not. And I understand, it's rare that we get moisture, and there are people that need to burn. However, like I said, it's just going to lead to confusion as to if you can or can't, or what day, and someone will get confused. And so I'm afraid it's just going to be a problem.
well, there was a question submitted to us even as recent as yesterday, and I don't know. I don't even know if that's possible or even feasible to do something like that. But Dan, fire chief, will be in later today. We can discuss it with him and just get his recommendation.
What about people burning CRP and they got a contract? Does the conservation work with them if we got a ban?
I don't know how that works. CRP burning, springtime CRP burning up.
I think it's the governor putting it up. Well, I don't know. We would surely have something in there.
Jeannie would know when she goes back, I'm sure.
Well, we happen to be probably one of the wettest places in the state right now. Most every place else is in extreme drought or severe drought.
Big snow pile by the firehouse just got melted yesterday, finally.
Okay, do I hear a motion to go ahead and approve abatement 201-8000021?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
And then employee wage agreement for Martin Misdall. They fired him for mechanic.
Okay.
I think it'll be a good fit.
I think so too. Leslie, read that.
Oh, it's okay.
Sorry.
All those in favor of approving the wage agreement for Mr. Nisdale, Martin Nisdale?
Aye.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, second.
Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gotta get this done right now.
Anything else with correspondence or information? Myla, good morning.
The school will be in the camp.
Okay, well, I'm just here for a signature, actually. So through the health department, we do grants every year. So I come and I just need to get chairman of the local board to sign. It says the grants that we're applying for, which usually are no problem for us, offset some of the fees that the hospital has to provide for the health department. We will have another 10,000 hopefully coming in. They're all due the end of this month, and then we'll probably find out in June. But we are regionalizing one grant, chronic disease risk reduction, with Thomas County. It's our first year to do that. So through there, we will get an additional 10,000, but we run the funds through them just on that one. Some of the grants the states want you to regionalize with, so we're experimenting with that one. So it'll be another 10,000 added on, but I can't count it on this one. But so this is what will come through the state. Dolores gets those. We send a receipt in. She reimburses the hospital for those, but that's what we're asking. So just need approval.
Also move.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Let's do this first. Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
You
Thanks.
guys are kind of busy up there.
Never a dull moment.
Have we peaked yet for flu season?
We have. We're doing pretty good, actually. We're still seeing some upper respiratory and more ear infection type things, but as for influenza A and B, they've really decreased here in the county and statewide. I mean, there's still some, but not like we were seeing. And hopefully next year they get this strain right in the vaccine, because we've actually already had to order for next year. So, okay, thanks.
I had a week clinic. I got to wash it all.
Good morning, ladies.
Kelly was sorry we could not make it today. For February, we were a little bit slower in the month. We only had 2,922 outpatients, which was down actually from January by about 300 visits. Inpatients was down. We had 17 admits. Emergency room was down slightly. We had 49. Rural health clinic was about the same as last month, 632. Surgeries were up from January at 18. Specialty clinic was a little bit slower at 56. The average length of stay for acute stays is 3.3, and swing bed is 9.18. The Senior Life announced this week that they have 9 patients. They have another one going to be admitted, and 10 is the max for their groups. So they will start a waiting list, and possibly start considering more pods, because there can only be 10 per group session. So it's really taken off.
Well, I'm glad that program's filled up, and
Yeah.
because it took like 7 to make that thing pay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, anywhere between 6 and 7, we had it estimated that we would make
Right.
it. So
It'd
it's
be
a great
self-supporting
program.
more or less,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
So it's a great program. We've had really good response from it.
Okay, and I understand you're going to entertain some possible candidates for.
Yes, we have
positions.
2. Yep, we have 2 physicians coming out next week for interviews.
Good.
So,
Good.
and Kelly feels hopeful about both of those.
Okay, well, so do we.
Yeah, yeah. So, as far as staffing, we're, Tabitha said we're always looking for PRNs, but we have pretty much cut back on all the contract nursing staff, so that's going to help cut the costs.
Okay.
So, do you guys have any questions?
Always, but I can't think of them when the time's right. So,
Well, excellent care up there.
Oh, great. Good.
Excellent.
Thank you. Good.
I got a lot of time to evaluate it.
That's good. Well, not really good for you, but we're glad to hear you had good care. Okay. If you don't have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Your next board meeting?
Next Wednesday, the 21st.
Afternoon, 3 o'clock?
Yeah, 3 o'clock. And I do believe one of the candidates might be on site just to meet the board.
Okay,
So if you can make it 3 o'clock.
all right.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's take a short break while we wait on Dan.